Welcome to today's Fireside Chat with Jesse. I am joined today by Ken Locke, CEO of Dext Capital. Thanks for joining me, Ken.
Thanks for having me. Excited for it.
No, absolutely, man. And when I kind of started down this series, I've worked with you and your team before and see all the great things that you guys have been able to achieve in such a short period of time. So you're definitely one of the people I wanted to have on this sooner than later. So thank you again for your time.
Yeah, no problem. Excited to talk to you. And yeah, when we started working together a little bit, we were really small at the time and we had just gotten started. So appreciate all the support from our partners.
So for the people who might not be familiar with you in equipment finance, Ken, can you just kind of talk about your experience? How'd you get into the industry and what brought you, and obviously up to the company that you're at today?
Yeah, sure. So first, I'm Kyin Locke. I'm the CEO for Dext Capital. Married for over 20 years. Got 2 children. Got a 17-year-old who's headed out to college, so excited for him. Got a 14-year-old who's heavy into gymnastics and cheer, and she's heading on to high school, so excited for her as well. I lived in Lake Oswego, Oregon, which is just outside of Portland, Oregon. Grew up in Boston. I think if you talk to the folks in my high school, they would probably tell you I'm probably the last person they would have thought would be a CEO of any company. I was pretty much a goof off throughout my whole high school experience. I'm immigrant here. I got here when I was about 6 years old, and grew up in the inner city Boston, and went to school out there, and ultimately got to a point where went to college. Was fortunate to get into college, to be honest with you, and fortunate to get a scholarship, which was actually probably life changing for me, because at the time I was probably so really focused on just earning money and doing different things that I wasn't really focused on college. And when I got a four-year scholarship, I decided, hey, it'd be a crime for me not to do it. So I ended up going to Northeastern University, and frankly did well there. And that's where I probably really got my focus. I met my wife there, which is probably part of the reason I got my focus as well, to go out and, hey, let's go out and achieve some stuff. And so I first joined GE Capital and went through their financial management program. So I guess I was one of those management trainees. Frankly, I think it was a great experience. They definitely get the most out of you. They don't pay you a lot, which is, part of their gig, but they really pay you back in the experience and the learning that you have. So got a lot of good experiences out of that. Spent a lot of time in different business units. Actually went to Tokyo with them to run Asia Pacific for healthcare leasing. Spent almost about 10 years there, and I was in their business development M&A group for a period of time, which was really my first role. And I had a choice between joining private equity or going to sort of a strategic M&A group, and just happened to be one that was based in equipment financing, which was vendor financing. And that's really how I got into it. I had no idea what it was. I just said, hey, this sounds sort of interesting, but it's the type of work that I wanted to do. And really over the course of those few years, I would tell you that one of the best learning experiences that anyone can have is be able to go out to meet lots of different companies, find out what they're all about, find out, how they've done, how they've grown, how they've been successful, what type of pitfalls they have. And that really helped me to understand the industry itself. And over that time, I spent another 10 years at US Bank, spent 4 years at TCF Bank. And ultimately, during the course of that journey, I decided it was, eventually I wanted to start up my own leasing company. And I had met a lot of colleagues and friends along the way that I was hopeful that would think that was a good idea and decide it was good to join me and sort of form this company. So that was 3 years ago. And since then, we've been able to grow and establish something pretty cool.
No, that's fantastic. And, I've been on the service provider side for 16 years, right? And you brought up a good point there. When you can go around and you can go see, I don't know, there's maybe a handful of people that I haven't had the opportunity to meet with in equipment finance in 16 years, but you get to see the different things where it's like, okay, look at the culture of this one, like look at the floor plan. It's like when you go into like a DLL or a Great America, when you see the open floor plan, the managers are sitting with some of those things. You're just like, I never fathomed that before. So when you get to see the different things and like a deal flows right through, one, they're not walking different floors, like getting
Right.
a best practices. So that's a great point there. So Dext Capital, let's just talk Dext. What industries do you guys play in? Obviously I'm familiar with your team based on just working with them, but for the people who might not know much about Dext, Ken, could you just kind of share about them for me?
Yeah, sure. So we are healthcare focused. That's really what we do. So we do healthcare, we do wellness, and some ancillary healthcare related industries. But primarily, we are lending to hospitals, medical practices, and medical providers throughout the whole country. And that's really where our experiences are. My experience and my track record, and many of the executives as well. We're based out of Lake Oswego, Oregon, where I live, which is sort of nice. We're up to 37 individuals, the majority of which are in Lake Oswego, Oregon here. We started this business a little over 3 years, actually about 3 years ago. We have strong sponsorship from private equity, so we have a lot of dollars to be able to grow the business. And really, that's really what we wanted to do. We wanted to make sure we had the money to be able to build something substantial and to grow, what we hope to be the leading and premier healthcare commercial finance company in the industry. And I think we're on a good journey, and I think we've had a good start to it. We have a long way to go. We originate directly. We have a sales team throughout the country. We originate through manufacturers. We have a lot of good relationships out there, and we've been able to do more for these manufacturers. And we also have some partnerships with various banks that we can do some things that they're unable to do. So we're an independent. What we sort of go with in terms of our ability to execute is speed, right? We have a lot of smart people. We're unafraid of managing and structuring around risk. We're able to make decisions that really benefited us throughout COVID, right? So when we started this business, we were probably a year into this thing before COVID hit. So in that first year, it was a fantastic year. We grew far more than we thought we would. With the market reception to our product and what we were looking to offer was incredible. So I appreciate all the support that we got throughout the industry. Then COVID hit, and so and like anyone else, like we didn't know what was going on, and we didn't know what the future looked like. And ultimately, we spent a lot of time. We spent a lot of time calling a lot of my peers in the industry, and all the executives calling all the friends that they had in the industry just to find out what's going on. Like, what do they know? And we're trying to gather as much information as possible. Webinars like these, podcasts. I mean, they were super important. I mean, it was actually incredible the amount of information that was out there and the amount of collaboration and sharing that there was out there. And with all of that, we were able to form opinions, some thoughts around directions as to where we wanted to go. And so, we felt really strongly about the healthcare industry and the vitality of that industry. And ultimately, what we did was, hey, we said, let's go lean in, and let's go lean in. Let's help manufacturers sell equipment. Let's help medical providers who are looking for capital. Ultimately, these medical providers are the heroes of our industry, right? I mean, they were out there fighting COVID while we're hunkering down in our homes, hoping that we don't catch anything, right? I mean, they were out there in the front lines. And so we said, look, you know what? We created this business for a reason, which was to be able to provide a flexibility and alternative to banks. And that this is the perfect timing for it, right? When there were issues out there was uncertainty out there, we could see through the fog and understand where we wanted to be. And so we're able to go out there and be, what we view as a supporting role to the heroes out in the industry. And ultimately, we're lending money, do short-term rentals on ventilators. We were going out there, working on labs that were, working on the viruses. And so all of really cool things. And, when we look back, I mean, it was a stressful time. We're up late at times trying to figure out things. We're up late trying to document transactions overnight so that people can put in orders for ventilators, because it was the wild, wild west of who was going to get a ventilator. So frankly, we felt a bit of purpose in that, right? We looked at it and said, hey, you know what? We're a financial company, but we get a chance to do something that is good for the entire country. And so I think we embraced that sort of support role and that purpose. And I think we were able to do a lot of cool things. And frankly, as a result of that, we were able to grow market share and continue to grow the business to where we are now.
No, that is truly, I'm just going to steal Deb Rubin's word. That's awesome. And that sense of purpose and everything else. And thank you for that. And, that was going to be my question, and you already answered it. I mean, the healthcare companies at that point in time are just trying to keep people alive, right? Last thing they want to do is worry about if they're going to have the right equipment. So
that's right.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, silver lining in that is they will be your customers for years to come because you guys did the right thing during a stressful time. So that goodwill always comes full circle. So that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we always try to do what's right, right? As a company, as a team, we try to do what's right. And fortunately, we're benefiting from doing what's right. But ultimately, that was one of the reasons you sort of create a company, right? You try to create a company that embraces some of the values that you have, right? And I think we all, we all work as a professional to make money, support our families.
Yeah.
But we also want to feel like what we're doing has purpose, right? Has a reason, has that we're contributing to society in some manner. And we're just fortunate to be in a nice position to be able to do that. And I will say also that I think our industry as a whole, I think we overlook the fact that unlike back in the last Great Recession where we were the bad guys, in this particular time we were the good guys. Like we did the extensions and modifications. Fortunately, in our portfolio, it was very, very little. But in many leasing companies, many banks, I know there were a lot of extensions, and people were basically putting all their time toward those extensions and modifications. And you know what? That kept a lot of companies in business, right? That kept a lot of companies, living until they could, reemerge. And I think we should look at that as we're in this particular, craziness. We were not doing things that were hurting the economy or hurting companies out there. We were trying to go out there and keep the economy afloat, and I think we did that. And we had support from government, right? Government provided PPE money. They provided money to healthcare companies and providers to make sure that they didn't have to worry about their financials while they were fighting COVID. They provided some ability to risk weight differently for banks so that they didn't have to be a little as onerous to customers as they would have had to if they had to risk weight down and put some capital requirements on. But we took all of that and all the benefits of all of those things. We as an industry went out there and I think did the right thing, which was look at companies and say, hey, you may not be able to pay us now, but we're going to keep you afloat so that when you're able to pay us, then that's when we'll ask for our money back. So I think it was a cool thing that I saw as an industry what we did.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's one of the reasons I enjoy putting equipment finance so much. I mean, you can even compete with somebody and they're still at the end of the day going to sit there and you can ask them a question and they're going to give you an answer because it's for, the benefit. I guess maybe the right word is the betterment of the end customer. And that's fantastic. Yeah. And I saw a lot of that cross collaboration where those people were just like, hey, how did you do this? How did you guys structure this? And there's a lot of equipment finance companies that were tied to banks that jumped in and did the PPP. Like they actually had to dive in and help them with that. And at the end of the day, these modifications, when these customers couldn't even do business, and still some of them are still not back, that goodwill will come back and pay benefits for years to come, which is fantastic. Agree. So from a startup perspective, obviously you had 12 whole months before this whole thing hit. If you look back, I guess COVID aside, in 3 years, Ken, like what did you like that you did? Would you have done anything differently?
There was a lot of things we liked. I will tell you that these last 3 years have been some of the more fulfilling years of my career, and I've had a lot of fulfilling years. I mean, I've had a lot of great runs at various companies. I've met a lot of great people. I've had opportunity to get mentorship from some great leaders and be able to learn from them. And been given a lot of opportunities within the industry. So I'm very appreciative of, frankly, all the companies that I've worked for, all the people that I've worked with and for. And but these last 3 years has been a lot of fun, right? I mean, it's been re-energizing to, I've worked at big institutions throughout my career and been very successful in those areas, but I really wanted to take a shot at creating something special. And, I would tell you some of the better things and more rewarding thing was that, we were able to bring on a fantastic team. I may be the CEO, but I will tell you that I couldn't do what we do without the fantastic team that surrounds me now. And a lot of these people that, I've known or I've worked with, I've known, in some cases 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
And so there's a fulfilling part of being able to work with people that I would call friends within the industry and outside the industry. And so getting great people, getting experienced, knowledgeable people, getting people who weren't afraid of making decisions, getting people that embraced the same purpose that you had in terms of creating something super cool and special. That was, to me, a decision that, it's really paying off great dividends. And the reality is that we're able to move at the speed that we move because we have a lot of capable people, right? I mean, if all the decisions came up to me, we wouldn't move very fast, right? But the reality is that there's a lot of people that know what they're doing and have the comfort that they know what they're doing, so they can move really quickly. And we created a fantastic culture. I mean, the culture that we have is one where truly, the best idea wins. And the reality is that we work with a lot of transparency. So actually, throughout COVID, one of the things we did was we kept the entire company informed as to what issues we had, what things we were doing, what direction we were headed. Because ultimately, the way I look at it was that we're a small company, so people are coming here because of the people, and people are coming here and putting trust in myself and other leaders in the organization. So the least we could do was inform them as to how we're approaching decisions, what decisions we're making, where we're headed as an organization. So that transparency was important. We look at ability to know that we're going to make a couple of mistakes here and there, and that was okay. Like that the speed of where we go, the flexibility to provide our partners and our customers. We knew that we'd make a couple mistakes, and we have to have the confidence to know that it's okay. And the reality is that as long as we're able to correct them quickly and identify them and have the confidence to correct them quickly, then we would still be very successful. And I think that's what we've done. So I think the culture of having a great team that feels empowered, having a team that ultimately knows that their opinion matters as much as mine, I think that has been really beneficial and rewarding for us. We made some large investments in technology, which we're really excited about, and building the right systems and managing data. So one of the things that we looked at throughout our careers is that we always had in big organizations access to data, having good information was always a challenge. And what we said, hey, let's make the right investments now. Let's spend the time to be able to manage our information, get good quality information so that, right now may not be as beneficial, but 5, 6, 7 years down the road, it's going to be hugely Absolutely. Important. And so those are the type of things we did as an organization. If we had to, if we look back in terms of what we would have done differently, I would lean in even more in terms of during COVID, right? I mean, we leaned in, I think, as hard as anyone, if not more than others. But I looked at it and said, hey, if we look back, we could have even done even more because ultimately, as you know, that the economy's bounced back, industries that bounced back, and people are in great shape now. And so And outside of that, I think there's a lot of stuff, we're really happy about right now.
No, I mean, I watched you, like the announcements of who you were bringing on to help you start Dext and everything. I was fortunate enough where I worked with Eric for a few years when he was in his previous life, and as I saw some of the other, I just kind of call them generals that you bring on to build your executive team, I was like, wow, okay, watch out. And from a culture perspective, human capital is huge. So the fact that you empower your employees to give you advice on what could be better and everything else, I mean, that's something that not a lot of organizations, they say they do it, Ken, but they really don't. And it's kind of one of those things where I see it. I see the way that you spotlight your employees online and give them shout outs and everything else. And, our employees work hard for us. So we got to make sure that we take care of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Eric will probably share with you one day, he'll probably say that the first lunch he had with me, where I was trying to recruit him, bring him aboard, he thought I was looking for a job. So he was a little cautious about meeting up with me. So I think he was just glad I wasn't asking for a job because he didn't have any. So, but we're pretty fortunate that we have some pretty cool and good people. And you know what? The other rule that we had was that we had a rule of making sure that we have a no jerk rule, which is, we just didn't need people to come in and break glass, right? I mean, we felt really good about what we were building. We felt good about the team that we were building. And, sometimes you have a couple of bad apples that, may just mess everything up. And we said, you know what? We want to build a culture where people really feel comfortable. People are excited to come to work. People are excited about what they do. And I think we're getting there on that. So.
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, I know one of the things that I always kind of preach is the customer centric focused. But if you're not employee focused, then they're the ones that are touching the customers. So it's kind of,
right.
But you mentioned an interesting word there, lean in. I like that phrase.
Yeah, thank you.
But I'm just trying to think here, Ken. I've been asking everyone who comes on here a little fun fact about themselves. Anything that you'd like to share?
Fun fact about me. I'm a terrible golfer, which I think everyone would probably say, well, maybe they won't say, but they know. But I'm a terrible golfer. Fun fact, I'm a big Boston sports fan. So I think the guys and girls here get tired of me talking about the various Patriots and Red Sox and Celtics stuff. And I'm a little more quiet now since teams stink. But I am a big fan of rooting for them. So I couldn't be an athlete myself, so I might as well root for some of the players there.
That's funny. Yeah, the whole golf thing. I think I only golf for business. I don't, even though I live in Arizona, which is the mecca of golf, I just don't have the time. And young kids don't help either. So
that's right.
The one other question I forgot to ask you was, what's it like being a CEO for the first time when you've been reporting up through? So what's, with all the weight of the organization on you, like, what is that like, Ken?
I think there's a higher level of responsibility, right? Responsibility to the team, responsibility to the company to make sure we guide things correctly. What it's like, I think it is, to me, it's been a lot of fun. I think in a lot of the companies I've been fortunate enough to get a lot of autonomy, been able to make some good, strong decisions. I think make more good decisions than I make bad decisions. But I think as a CEO, really our biggest jobs are to make sure we surround ourselves with the best people, create the best culture that we have, and make some of the big decisions well. And so, when we make decisions like, where we're headed as an organization, what type of resources that we want to put into play, I think, all the, so we not sweating the small decisions, but focusing on the big decisions. But I think to me it's a lot of fun. I mean, look, I mean, one of the things that I feel really fortunate to be able to do is to make decisions to reward our people, right? In larger organizations, you have a little bit of ability, but ultimately it's it's driven as from a system perspective. As an organization now, we have the ability to recognize and reward people as we see fit, and sometimes in ways that they're surprised by, right? They're not expecting. And as we create something, what I feel is a great company, I want to make sure that the people who have contributed to that, the people who have been a big, huge part of the team, get recognized. That in obviously compensation, but more so know that hey, you were a vital part of this. We couldn't get to where we are without you being part of it. And I think to me, that's rewarding, right? Like that you don't have to handcuff us to what you can do. You just do what you think is right, and I think we've been able to do that.
No, that's a fantastic point. And at the end of the day, people just want to know that they're doing a good job. Um, so that's fantastic, Ken. Thank you. Um, I really appreciate you spending a few minutes with me today, Ken. I kind of wrap these up by just saying, okay, of all like the independents out there, why Dext? I think you kind of hammered on all of the points that I would be looking for to joining and doing business with an organization. But if there's anything else you'd like to add, just why Dext Capital?
A couple things, right? So in terms of people joining Dext Capital, our mantra has been to bring on experts, experienced people who know what they're doing, but experts in certain verticals, experts in what they're talented at, and so we've been able to attract really good people. And what I tell any recruit is, and I say this in all frankness and honesty, there isn't a better place to work than where we are right now. I think the type of culture we built, the engagement we have, I think the people just feel excited about what we do and being a part of the company and looking to create something cool. And so I think there's a lot of fun in that, right? So folks who are sitting there going, hey, I'm not having as much fun as I used to. I think people coming to Dex, I think everyone across the board would tell you that it's a cool place to be and it's a lot of fun. In terms of people working with us, we know the healthcare market. So when it comes to healthcare, I don't think there's anyone that is close to us in terms of our ability to structure, our ability to have flexibility, our ability to move with speed and make it easy for companies to work with us. I think we're truly what I would view as healthcare experts. And then we're very relationship based, right? I mean, ultimately, we're trying to help our partners to be more successful. And we sort of embrace that sort of mission. And I think we've done a nice job of that. So, but yeah, to me, we're still early in the growth of our company, and hopefully for many years to come, we'll still be able to create something truly special and have fun along the way.
No, and I am excited to continue to watch, what the future of your organization, becomes. Thank you for your time today, Ken. I can't wait to circle up in an in-person conference. Unfortunately, it might not be until October at the annual, but
Right.
if our paths cross before then, or if you're ever in Phoenix, just hit me up, man. But I really appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, and thanks for doing it.
Absolutely.